नाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशत रशत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशत रशत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशत रशत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशत रशत शिशिमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद अशत रशत शिशिमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गोरक्षर बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबूजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपनु गौरी गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम चय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल भज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट विदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री मुनि देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। श्री कार्तिक व्रत नियम सेवा की जय। दामोदर व्रत की जय। दामोदराष्टकम की जय। श्री सत्यव्रत मुनि की जय। श्री श्री सनातन गोसाई पाद की जय। दिग-darśinī-vṛtti की जय। श्री यशोदा दामोदर की जय। श्री राधा दामोदर की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। That's strange. One second. I have some starting to get a sore throat cough kind of thing. There's only one person here. That's usually there's a lot more people here. Anyhow, I can make this. Actually, I just found out that I'm going out on parikrama tomorrow by car early morning, so I won't be able to read tomorrow morning. So maybe I will download this video and make it go live tomorrow morning as well. So no problem. Okay. What am I doing here? So we're continuing our reading of Dāmodarāṣṭakam. This morning we read Śrīla Sanatana Goswami Pad's commentary on this third verse. And now we're going to read my Gurudev's commentary. So let's go through this. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Braja Manam Yashodabhiyo Lukad Ladhava Manam Paramrishtam Atyantadruta Gopya Etidrik Swalilabhir Ananda Kunde Swaghosha Nimanjantam Akyapayantam Tadiyeshitar Gesho Bhaktarjitatvam Puna Prematastam Shatabhriti Vande Nama Mishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Okay, so I'm not sure if you remember from this morning what the meaning of these words. We can go through it again another time. Let's see. So the previous two verses was describing the pastime of Krishna running away from Mother Yashoda and his crying. And so it says, Itidrik, like this, like these enchanting childhood pastimes, such as this Dambandhan Lila. Swalilab here. So like these, he drowns. So Nimanjantam means drowns. Swagosham means his own. Gosha is like, what do you say? Gosha is like a cowherd village, like so he his own people, the Gopas, Gopis, all the residents of Vraj, he drowns them, Nimanjantam, in Ananda Kunde, in pools of bliss. And yeah, Nimanjanta means immerses. So yeah, he immerses them in pools of bliss through these kinds of leelas, his own leelas. Swa lila bhir. Swa means own, and lila bhir is plural, so his own sweet leelas. So through this, he akhyapayantam. He informs. He informs those who are geshu, who know, who are knowledgeable of his tadya, his ishita, his absolute divinity. What does he inform them? He informs those people that he is only conquered jitat. He's only conquered by bhakti. And this says Twam because this is all referring, like this is all directly addressing Krishna. So you inform those who are aware of your godhood that you are only conquered by bhakti. Puna prematastang shata vritti vande. Puna, again and again, prematas, filled with prem, tongue to you, shata vritti vande. I offer hundreds of obeisances. Shata means 100 and avriti means, I guess, times. Yeah. So let's read the translation. Let's go through the Sanskrit and just try to remember the meaning of all these words. Itti drik swalilabhir ananda kunde swagoshima jantam akhyapayantam tadi eshita geshu bhakter jitatvam puna prematastam shatavriti vande. All right. So by his childhood pastimes, such as this Dambandhan Lila, he perpetually drowns all the residents of Gokul, his gopas, gopis, cows, calves, and so forth, who are all manifested by his pastime potency in pools of bliss. Thus, he thus informs those who have knowledge of his absolute divinity that only the pure and simple love of these devotees can conquer him. Again, hundreds of times, I offer loving obeisance unto Sri Damodar Krishna. I wonder if the translation should be not in third person. It should be second person. Anyways, that's something I have to look into afterwards. Okay, so now we are reading the Dig-darśinī-vṛtti of my Śrīla Gurudev. Just checking the comments, see everything's running okay. Hi, Rup Manjari Didi. No problem if you fall asleep. Radhe Radhe Gargraj ji. I think I'm gonna make this video go live in the morning time also. Okay. Sri Krishna's pastimes are lakes of inexhaustible bliss in which he drowns the entire village of Gokul. The village of Gokul is known as Goshapali, which refers to the place where all the animals, birds, cows, gopas, and gopis loudly sing the pastimes of Krishna without cessation. It is constantly resounding with the calls of the gopas and gopis. Milk the cows, untie the calves, bring the milk pail. And all is entirely for the pleasure of Sri Gopal Krishna. When Sri Krishna became a little bit bigger, he discovered that he could go beyond the doorstep leading out of the house. One day, when he and his big brother Balaram went outside, they saw that some bright red flowers had blossomed nearby. However, the flowers were surrounded by a fence of dry bare thorns. Somehow, they moved the thorny branches aside and went through to pick flowers. Meanwhile, the thorny branches fell back into place, blocking their way out. How will we get out of here? They wondered, and burst into tears. Mother Yashoda heard their loud sobbing and came out of the house. Finding them trapped, she managed to move the thorny branches to the side and take them out. Sometimes Krishna would hold onto the horns of huge bulls and swing on them. Whoa, that sounds dangerous. Other times, he had become astonished when he saw himself reflected in the jeweled pillars of his home, and he'd even tried to speak with that reflection. One day, his mother said, "Krishna, go fetch a calf, and we will worship him." Krishna found a calf and caught hold of him, but when he tried to bring him to his mother, the calf refused to move. Krishna struggled to bring him along, tugging and pulling all the way. He finally reached the house, but when he noticed a pot of butter hanging from the ceiling, his mouth began to water. He climbed onto the calf's back, and taking hold of the pot, he began to empty it of its contents. Seeing his chance to escape, the calf fled from the spot, leaving Krishna dangling. "Maya, Maya," he cried. Mother Yashoda, finding Krishna hanging in the air, took him down and scolded him. One second. I'm starting to get something in my throat, so I made some tea. I just need to drink a little bit of tea. Okay. Each morning, the gopis used to crowd into Mother Yashoda's home just to see Sri Krishna. Sometimes some gopis would say, "Krishna is so strong," while others would argue, "No, Balaram is much stronger." How shall we definitely find out who is stronger? Let the two boys wrestle, and the winner will get a big lump of butter. On these occasions, just by seeing the butter, the two boys' mouths would water, and they would start wrestling. The gopis siding with Krishna would clap their hands if he won. But if he lost, then the gopis on Baladev's side would clap victoriously. Sometimes a gopi would tempt Krishna with a laddu, saying, "Kanaya, if you dance for us, I will give you this laddu." Placing his hand on his waist, he would dance to the rhythm, "Tatai, tatai," and even sing a sweet little song. In various ways, the Vraj gopis would make Krishna dance. He became just like a puppet, for he came under their full control. At other times, the gopis who came to visit Mother Yashoda would order Krishna, "Krishna, bring us that wooden seat." Their darling little Krishna would try to lift the small seat, but when they saw that he could not, they swelled with sweet affection for him. The same Sri Krishna in his Varaha incarnation lifted the entire earth on his tusks. Also, when Sri Krishna was a little older, he easily lifted Govardhan Hill with his little finger as if it were no more than a toy ball. But in his childhood pastimes in that same Vrajdham, he could not even lift a small wooden seat. This is the nature of his sweet human-like pastimes. He controls and maintains everything in creation, yet he is controlled by the residents of Vraj. Although he is the master of unlimited potencies, including his Ghatana Aghatana Shakti, which makes the impossible possible and the possible impossible, in Vraj, he is unaware of his supreme absolute position. There he is an innocent and simple child, nourished and cared for by his affectionate mother. As befitting an obedient son, he brings his father's shoes, carrying them on his head, and he considers, Father will wear these shoes and attends the assembly of the Gopas. One second. What is the meaning of Itidrik Swali Labhir Ananda Kunde Swagosha Nima Jantam? Shri Krishna's sweet childhood pastimes are an ocean of ras. That ocean is inexhaustible and it has no boundary, for it is absolutely unlimited. He drowns all the gopas, gopis, cows, calves, and the entire settlement of Braj in the vast ocean of these pastimes. Even he, in fact, drowns in the ocean of the sweetness of his own pastimes. Why does Sri Krishna perform these pastimes? Sri Satyavrata Muni answers this question in relation to Tadiyeshita Geshu, those who always retain knowledge of Bhagavan's supreme position. A Tattva Gyani sees Vrajendranandan Sri Shyam Sundar as the source of all incarnations and the essence and ultimate limit of Godhead. They know him as the possessor of all six opulences in their fullness, and the Supreme Lord who has the power to make the impossible possible. Devotees such as Narad and the four Kumaras have full knowledge of Sri Krishna's true position. Through these pastimes, Sri Krishna is explaining to them, although I possess the potency to make the impossible possible, I am nonetheless controlled by the residents of Raj. I am simply playing here in the mood of an ignorant child. Itidrik Swali Labhi. His uncommon childhood pastimes, like this Damodar Lila, are supremely charming. One day, a fruit seller from Mathura came to Vraj to sell her fruit. She had heard of the preeminent sweetness of Sri Krishna's pastimes in Gokul and had become exceedingly eager to see them directly. Although she came to Vraj often, she had never gotten the chance to see Krishna. He was either asleep or in the lap of his mother. At other times, he was surrounded by his friends or busy playing inside his home. She tried again and again, but she was always unable to see him. The darshan of Sri Krishna is easily available to residents of Vraj, but it is quite rare for the people of Mathura. Still, the heart of the fruit seller became so full of anxiety that she resolved, if I do not see Krishna today, I will not return to Mathura. The sadhak's resolves should be exactly the same. He should think, day and night I will execute the limbs of devotion as instructed by Sriman Mahaprabhu and Srila Rupa Goswami. With love, I will chant a fixed number of Sri Hari's names and serve Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas. Every day, I will study Srimad Bhagavatam and other devotional literatures. Every day, I will recite Gopi Git, Venu Git, Brahmar Git, and Yugal Git. If I come across a Rasik Vaishnav, I will give my life to serving him. I will visit the places where Sri Radha Krishna performed their confidential pastimes in the groves and forests of Raj. I will pray very piteously there and recite hymns and prayers that are full of longing. Then Sri Krishna will surely give me his darshan. He is not far away. Having made her vow, the fruit seller came to Nanda Maharaja's cowherd settlement and wandered about near his house. She began crying out, "Come, take fruits! Fall low, take fruits! Come, take mangoes, bananas, and guavas! Fall low, fall low!" But within moments, she became so absorbed in thinking about Krishna that instead of calling the names of the fruits, she called out, "Come, take Gopal, Govinda lo, Madhav lo, Damodar lo." At first, she had been balancing the basket of fruit on her head with one hand, but eventually she forgot to hold the basket altogether. It kept from falling only due to her natural expertise. Finally, she sat down before the doorstep of Nanda's house. When Sri Krishna heard the cries of the fruit seller, he could not remain sitting quietly on his mother's lap, so he climbed down and went to a nearby mound of grain. After taking as much grain as he could hold in his joined palms, he started toward the fruit seller. but his hands were so tiny that all the grain fell from them as he walked. When he reached the fruit seller, all he had left were a few grains that were wedged between his palms and fingers. He poured them into her basket and demanded, "Oh, give me some fruit." The fruit seller became completely enchanted by the beautiful form of little Krishna and just sat there looking at him for some time. The import of this pastime is that unless someone is intensely eager to see Sri Krishna and is absorbed in remembering him, just as the fruit seller was, he does not give them his darshan. Sri Krishna only Sri Krishna only gives his darshan to those sadhaks who desire nothing but to see him and serve him. In other words, he only appears before those who have become completely free from anarthas. When the fruit seller returned to external consciousness, she said, "Lala, my darling boy, I will only give you fruit if you sit on my lap just once and call me Ma." Little Krishna carefully looked in all directions to make sure no one was looking. One second, that comma should not be there. So he looked in all directions to see if no one was watching. When he was sure no one could see, he jumped onto her lap and said, "Ma," and then quickly jumped off again. "Give me fruit." All of the deepest desires within the heart of the fruit seller had now been fulfilled. She wanted to give Krishna all of her fruit, but she could only give him as much as he could hold in his tiny arms and hands. When Kanaya returned to where Mother Yashoda was sitting in the courtyard, he placed the fruit in her veil. "Lala, where did you get these fruits from?" she asked. Krishna simply pointed to the door. Mother Yashoda became delighted to see such succulent and tasty fruits. She began to distribute them to all the gopis present. Amazingly, even though there were only a few fruits, the quantity did not diminish. When Krishna left the fruit seller near the doorstep of his house, she completely lost external awareness. Sri Krishna had stolen her heart, and she simply sat in the very same spot until a gopi passing by shook her and brought her back to external consciousness. She slowly picked up her basket of fruit, placed it upon her head, and then set off for Mathura. As the fruit seller walked along the bank of the Yamuna River, she realized that her basket had become much heavier than before. When she set it down and looked inside, she was struck with wonder. Her basket was filled with a variety of valuable jewels. She picked up the basket, threw it into the Yamuna, and burst into tears. "Sri Krishna has cheated me," she cried. "I have been completely deprived of his real mercy." Overwhelmed by love for Sri Krishna, she lamented bitterly and never returned to her home. When Sri Krishna steals anyone's heart, invariably this becomes their condition. Wow. Evam vrata swapriya nama kirtya jatanurago druta chitta uchai hasatya toro ditiroti gaya tyunmadavanritati lokabahya. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 11.2.40. Saintly people who have firmly devoted themselves to serving Bhagavan with deep love constantly engage in kirtan of their most beloved names of Krishna. When deep attachment, anurag, arises in them, their hearts thoroughly melt and they become mad in love of God. They laugh and cry loudly. Agitated by love, they sing about their Lord in sweet voices, and just like madmen, without a trace of shyness, they dance and sing, unaffected by the opinions of ordinary people. The evil demoness. Let me just check. Oh my God. How do I get rid of this? Block user on YouTube. I need to just block this person. Add to block list and restream chat. There. Okay. Dandavat pranams, Ganga Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so the evil demoness Putana, who would murder small children and drink their blood, beautifully disguised herself as a mother and entered into Vraj intending to kill baby Krishna. Despite her wicked deceit, merely on the basis of her motherly appearance, Sri Krishna granted her a position as a real nursemaid in Goloka. And, and in exchange for a morsel of worthless chipped rice, just see what he gave to Sudama Vipra. And there's a footnote. In exchange for a few pieces of broken chipped rice, Shri Krishna awarded Sudama Vipra unimaginable opulence. See Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10th canto, chapter 81. So, if Krishna gave evil Putana who would murder small children and drink their blood the position of a nursemaid, and he'd give Sudama Vipra, he'd give him an unimaginable opulence just for little chipped rice, then what will he not give this fruit seller who is ready to give him all her fruit? Even four-headed Sri Brahma, the creator of the universe, cannot imagine the answer to this question. Lord Brahma says, Esham Ghosha Nivasinam Bhavan Kindevarate Tinash Cheto Vishwa Phalat Phalang Twaraparang Kutrapyayam Yati Sarveshar Iva Putana Pisakula Tameva Deva Pita Yardhamartha Suhrit Priyatamatan. Sorry, let me try that again. Yardhamartha Suhrit Priyatmatanaya Pranashayastvat Krite. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-35. Lord Brahma says, O Master, who is most worshipful even for the demigods, now my mind is becoming bewildered by a doubt. How will you be able to reward the residents of Vraj for their service? You are the condensed form of the highest benediction. There is no reward superior to obtaining you. But even if you give your very selves to the Vrajvasis, you will not be freed from your debt to them, because you have given yourself to Putana. She was extremely cruel at heart, yet by deceitfully appearing before you in the form of a virtuous nursemaid, she has obtained you. Even her relatives like Agasura and Bakasura have now obtained you. How can you give the same reward to the Vrajvasis who have given you everything? They have offered you their homes, wealths, and relatives. They have even offered their own bodies, children, life, and mind, everything at your lotus feet. Every day, Sri Krishna would perform beautiful, sweet pastimes like these and immerse the residents of Vraj in an ocean of bliss. 1 second. There are those who know him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the controller of all others. They know him as the possessor of all potencies, as the causeless original cause of all other causes, as the Supreme Being who has no equal, what to speak of a superior, and as he who makes the impossible possible. Yet by these pastimes, he is showing such knowledgeable personalities that he can only be controlled by bhakti. So what is it? He is showing, he is making it known, akya payantam, to these knowledgeable personalities, these who tadiyeshitav geshu, who are knowledgeable of his divinity, that bhakti badham, that he is only controlled by bhakti. Oh, bhaktirjitatvam, I mean. What kind of bhakti can control him? The four Kumaras, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Shri Narad, Shri Uddhav, and the Yadavas, as well as many others, all have some form of bhakti. But their bhakti can never control him. Aishwarya Shitila Preme Nahi Mora Prita. I am not pleased by the love that is weakened by awe and reverence. That's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 3:16. Devotees who have reverential love for Krishna stands before him and, with folded hands, offer him prayers. But if someone loves him with a mood similar to one of the Vrajvasis, like Suval, Sridham, Madhumangal, Madhu Yashoda, Nanda Baba, or, above all, one of the Vrajgopis, then Sri Krishna will come under his control. Among these Vrajvasis, the Vrajgopis are supreme, and among them, Srimati Radhika is topmost. If someone's devotion to Sri Krishna is like the devotion of Srimati Radhika's maidservants, then he can control Sri Krishna completely. I'm just remembering, what is it? How does that verse go? Radhika Dasi. No. Anyways, whatever. The following verses celebrate these facts. Anangaranga Mangala Prasanga Bhangura Bhruvam Savibramam Sasambramam Triganta Banapatanai Nirantaram Vashikrita Pratitinanda Nandane Kada Karishasi Hamam Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam. That's the third verse of Radha Kripa Kataksha Stavaraj. O Sarveshwari, mistress of all controllers, Radhika, on the stage of amorous sport, in the course of an auspicious discussion, you express amazement by curving your eyebrows like bows, and then suddenly firing the arrows of your sidelong glances, piercing the son of Sri Nanda with amorous delusion and bringing him under your perpetual control. When will you make me the recipient of your merciful sidelong glance? And another verse that comes to mind, what is that song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur? Radhika Charana Parma Sakala Shayara Sadma. Jay Dorilo Radha Pada Paramanjatan Radha Pada Vina Kabu Krishna Nahi Mile Radha Dasir Krishna Sarva Vede Bole. Oh wait, actually that means something else. Krishna comes, Krishna is the property, that's what it means. Krishna is the property of Srimati Radhika's maidservants. Even Sri Sita, the wife of Bhagavan Sri Ram, could not control Sri Ram by her love. Sri Ram gave her up and sent her to the forest to live in exile. Could Sri Krishna ever banish Srimati Radhika from his house in Nandagaon? Srimati Radhika does not even live in his house. She does not even live in his house with him. He becomes so nervous in her presence that he could never ask her to leave his house. What to speak of banishing her from it forever? The reason he becomes so nervous around her is because he is always impassioned with love for her. When she instructs him in the various arts, such as dancing, he fears that he may make some mistake. I don't know how to sing this. I'm just going to make something up. Priya ko nachavata sikavati pyari mana gomana lakutili ethari darapata kunja bihari. While instructing her beloved in the art of dancing, Sri Radhika watches him with a cane in hand, ready to chastise him. Her cane is her sulky, contrary mood, which causes Sri Kunja Bihari to fear making any mistake. Radhika spontaneously becomes inflamed with man, jealous anger, either with or without any cause. Shri Krishna prays. Smara garla khandanam mama shirasi mandanam dehi pada pallavam udaram. That's Shri Gita Govinda 10:8. Oh, my beloved, Cupid's powerful poison is devastating me. Please be merciful to me and place upon my head the cooling, tender petals of your lotus feet. What to speak of bowing at the lotus feet of Sarveshwari Shri Radha? Shri Krishna falls at the feet of Shri Rupa Manjari and Shri Rati Manjari, her maidservants, when, on their Swamini's order, they forbid him to enter Shri Radha's kunja. He begs them for permission to enter, pleads with them, and flatters them just to pacify them. Just see the position of Shri Radha's maidservants. That reminds me of the verse. What verse is it? I think it's Linam Nikunja Kuhare Bhavate Mukunde Chitraiva Suchitavati Ruchirakshina Pugnam Brubam Narachayati Risham Tam Agre Rajandratanaya Sakadanu Neshe. That's from Gandharva Sampartanashtakam. Srila Rupa Goswami is praying. When will I praying this basically this same thing when Srimati Radhika will become angry with me, and why did he allow Krishna to come in? And she says, it wasn't me, it was Chitrasaki who allowed Krishna in. Don't frown at me. And then, yeah, that's... So our worshipful Srila Raghunath Das Goswami says, Padabjayastava vina varadasyameva nanyat kadapi samaye kila devi yache. Sakhyayate mama namostu namostu nityam dasyayate mama rasostu rasostu satyam. That's Shri Vilap Kusmanjali, verse 16. O goddess, you are capable of bestowing all benedictions, but I do not want anything other than service to your lotus feet. I offer my obeisances forever, to Sakya, the mood of friendship. But the essence of my life, the real essence of my life, is dasya, the mood of service. So we never want to become a saki. We want to become a dasi. We only want to become a service. That's our aim and object. Sri Prabodhananda Saraswati's eternal identity in Sri Krishna's pastimes is Tunga Vidya Saki, one of Sri Krishna's 8 principal sakis. But he is also praying to attain the position of being Sri Radha's maidservant. Yat kinkarishu bahusha kaluka kuvani nityang parasya purushasya shikanda mole tasya kadarasa nidher vrishabhanujayas tatkeli kunja bhavanangana marjani janisyam. Is it Rasanidhe or Rasanidher? God, I should know that. I think it's Rasanidher. I studied this and I forgot the rules. Sandhi. Okay. O daughter of Rishabhanu Maharaj, ocean of Ras, that beautiful boy who wears a gracefully tilting peacock feather in his hair is actually the original personality of Godhead. Still, he is always falling at the feet of your maidservants and pitifully begging them with many humble words to gain entrance into your kunja, where the two of you engage in your playful, loving pastimes. My life would be successful if I could be even one stick in the broom of your maidservants. If I could even be one stick in the broom of your maidservants that they use to clean your delightful kunj. Shri Krishna rises when the gopis order him to rise, and he sits when they order him to sit. Cha chia bara cha cha para hari konachave. That's by Rasa Khan. Just see the glories of these ladies of Raj. They make Sri Hari dance for a mere palmful of buttermilk. No other kind of bhakti has the power to control Krishna in this way. Mother Yashoda may tell Krishna, "Today, Kanaya, do not take the cows out to graze in the forest. It is your birthday." But he will not follow her order. He will eagerly go out to graze the cows. What is in the forest that attracts him so much? Within the forest, he can meet the young Vraj gopis and play freely with them, especially with Sri Radha. They meet together in secret places like Radhakund, Suryakund, and Kusum Sarovar. The amorous love that the young Vraj gopis have for Sri Krishna is greater even than parental love for him. In fact, their love induces all the qualities of parental affection. Therefore, playing with the gopas or grazing his cows is not the primary reason he takes the cows into the forest every day. The main reason he enters the forest is to play with his dearmost gopis. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 8:201 to 204, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains that without the help of Sri Radha Sakis, Sri Krishna's amorous pastimes will never develop in someone's heart. Radha Krishner Lila e ati guratar dasya vatsalyadi bhave na hoy gochar. Sri Radha Krishna's pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan are extremely confidential. Such pastimes are beyond the grasp of anyone in the mood of Sri Krishna's affectionate servant, his friend, or a parent. Sabe eka saki ganer iha adhikar, saki hoite hoy e lilar vistar. Only the damsels of Vraj to see these secret pastimes, and only they can make them expand. Saki bina e lila pushta nahi hoy, Saki lila vistariya, Saki ashvada. Only the Sakis are qualified only the Sakis are qualified to nourish these secret pastimes, and they take great pleasure in making them expand. Saki bina e lilai anyar nahi gati, Saki bhabe je tare kore anugati. Radha Krishna Kunja Seva Sadhya She Pai, She Sadhya Paite Ar Nahi Ko Upai. No one can see or participate in these pastimes without the help of the young Vraj Gopis. Only those fortunate souls who follow in their footsteps by adopting their exalted mood of amorous love for Sri Krishna will attain the ultimate goal of directly serving Sri Radha and Krishna in the kunjas of Vrindavan. There is no other way to obtain this. One second. One day, Mahadev Shiva, the chief demigod, set off to see his supremely worshipful lord who had just appeared in Vraj. Arriving at the gate of Nanda Maharaja's home, he sang loudly, Alakh Niranjan, Alakh Niranjan, and he played his damuru, a kind of hand drum. What does Alakh Niranjan mean? This phrase is used to beg alms in the name of Bhagavan, or simply to make one remember him. It is a description of Paramatma, who is invisible, Alakha, and aloof from Maya, Niranjan. So he played his damru. Mother Yashoda came to the door when she heard him singing and playing his drum. But when she saw the appearance of this unusual yogi, she became afraid. He wore robes of tiger skin and a garland of human skulls. Dangerous serpents adorned his hands, feet, and neck, and he held a tall, fearful trident by his side. His body was smeared from head to toe with ashes from a cremation ground, and his thoroughly matted hair made him look ancient and even more dreadful. His carrier, Nandi, a massive bull, accompanied him. Seeing that the terrible-looking yogi was approaching her, accompanied by Nandi, Yashoda became utterly terrified. Nonetheless, she asked him dutifully, "Do you want some alms? Just wait, and I will bring them to you." Mahadev Shankar replied, "O mother, I have walked so far to come here from my house in Kailash. Just show me your baby. I want to see your darling child." "Eat or drink whatever you like, and then go," she said. "And do not play your damuru so loudly. My child is sleeping." Shankarji said, "O innocent mother, I do not want your flour and beans or silk clothes and bags, nor do I want anything to eat, drink, wear, or rest upon. I have come to see your darling son just once. This is the only donation I need." Mother Yashoda hesitated and then said to him, "I am an adult, yet your appearance terrifies me. My darling boy is so young. He will become too afraid if he sees your form, so I will not show him to you." And she went inside the house. Sri Shankar, the foremost demigod, was not about to leave without seeing Sri Krishna. He sat down by the door and lit a ceremonial fire. When your beautiful son grows a little older, he thought, he will come outside to play, and I will finally be able to see him. I will not return to Kailash without seeing him. To this day, the place near Nanda's home where Mahadev Sri Shankar was sitting is known as Yogiya Kund. Mother Yashoda entered the house and found her darling baby boy crying loudly. Nothing she tried would pacify him, so she consulted her friends. A respected elder gopi spoke. This is not an elderly yogi. He is in the sacred mountains of Kailash. When your boy heard him playing his drum, he became afraid, and now he has started to cry more and more loudly. It would be wise to show him your dear son at least once. Seeing no other recourse but to show her son to the extraordinary yogi, Yashoda Maya placed Krishna in a black basket and covered all his limbs with black cloth to protect him from inauspiciousness. She anointed his eyes with thick black eyeliner and marked his forehead with a black dot. Then she reluctantly brought Krishna outside and allowed the yogi just a brief glimpse of him. To her astonishment, turning to enter her house, she noticed that Krishna had stopped crying. Sri Shankar, the king of mystics, spoke to her. I will light a ceremonial fire and stay nearby. If ever your beloved child falls prey to some evil, just call for me. I will chant mantras and ward off any evil effects with mustard seeds and salt, and he will be restored to health. Thereafter, whenever Krishna would cry, she would call the yogi from his dwelling. Uh-oh, I don't know how to sing this song. Okay, let's figure out something. What's a melody I can sing this? Yogi chalo nanda bhavana mein yashomati maya tumhe bulave बाके लाला को नजर लगी है ता ते पे राय नून करवावे रह रह योगी नंद भवन में व्रज में वास सदा तू की जो जब जब बाका लाल रोवे तब तब दर्शन दीजो. Darasana. Is it Darasana or Darashana? I have to look that up. Okay. Yogi, come to Nanda Bhavan. Krishna's devoted mother, Yashoda Maya, is calling you. Her dear son has come under an evil eye. Ward off its effect with mustard and salt. Stay here, Yogi. Just stay here in Nanda Bhavan. Please live in Vraj forever. Whenever her darling son cries, come and give him your darshan. Thus, the life of that yogi became successful. Second. Okay. In his Padyavali, an anthology of verses written by many different acharyas, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes the following pastime. Rama nama bhabuvahum tar bala siteti hum tam pitur vacha panchavati vane nivasatas tasyaharad ravana Krishna yeti puratanim katam akarnya matre ritam somitre kwa dhanu iti vyagra gira pantuva. That's from Padyavali, verse 150, author unknown. One second, I'm just gonna wash my left hand so I can touch my computer again. I mean my right hand. I am back. Okay. One night, Mother Yashoda was tenderly stroking Krishna and lulling him to sleep with a story. Once there was a king, she said. Shri Krishna eagerly responded, Yes, and? His name was Dasharatha, she continued, and he had 4 sons. When they grew up, Vishwamitra took them to protect the arena of his sacred fire sacrifice. She murmured, yes, and? After he saved the fire sacrifice, Vishwamitra took them to Mithila. The king of Mithila, Maharaj Janak, had vowed to give his daughter's hand in marriage only to the one who could string Shiva's bow and break it, and not to anyone else. Again, Shri Krishna murmured, or I don't know how you do that. Anyways, Krishna came from many kings came from many far-off lands, she continued, but they all failed. Finally, Shri Ram strung Shiva's massive bow and broke it. Then Princess Sita was married to Lord Ram. Shri Krishna murmured as she spoke, and whenever she paused, even for a brief moment, he eagerly inquired from his mother, "Mother, what happened next?" To carry out his father's order, Shri Ram had to enter the forest in exile, and Sita and Lakshman went with him. When they were residing at a place called Panchavati, the demon Maricha tricked Ram and led him into the forest. Meanwhile, back at their cottage, Ravan came and kidnapped Sita. Just hearing this, Shri Krishna, absorbed in the mood of Ram, sprang up from his bed, crying, "Lakshman, bring me my bow! Where is my bow? My bow!" May Sri Hari's impassioned cries when he is absorbed in this mood protect you. One day, while Mother Yashoda was churning yogurt in an earthen pot, she attracted her darling son to her with sweet words. Then, for a short time, she left to do something else. When Krishna's eyes suddenly fell upon the earthen pot, he saw the moon reflected on the surface of the yogurt. When Mother Yashoda returned, he repeatedly demanded, "Mother, I want the moon. Give me that toy." Mother Yashoda took a lump of butter from the pot and gave it to him. At first, he became happy, but when he looked back into the pot, he saw that the moon was still there. Again, he began restlessly demanding it. Mother Yashoda said, "Look up, that is the moon." "I want it," he demanded. "There is poison on it," she said. Shri Krishna asked, "How did it get poison on it?" "A long time ago, when the demigods and demons churned the great ocean of milk, poison came to the surface. That poison is on the moon. Do you see those black impressions on the moon? That is the poison. Tell me, who would want to play with that?" Hearing this explanation, Shri Krishna became frightened. Such are Shri Krishna's unlimited pastimes. He drowns the residents of Raj in the ocean of their sweetness, and he also drowns in that ocean. Thus ends the Dig-darśinī-vṛtti on the 3rd verse. Hey, look, there's a picture of that pastime. Okay, so tomorrow I will not be reading tomorrow because I'm going out on Parikrama. I'm going to Kamyavan, I think. Or Madhuvan. No, I think Kamyavan. So I'm leaving at 7:30. That's the time I usually start. And I have a busy night tonight. I'm going to be going to bed pretty late tonight, so I won't have time to pre-record a video. So I think what I'll do is just for those who might want, I'm going to download this video and make it go live tomorrow. So this video that we're doing right now will replay tomorrow morning. So you might, if for those of you watching right now, you probably won't want to watch it a second time. But all right, so yeah, I will see you all the day after tomorrow. Yeah. All right. Dandavat pranams. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Jai Shri Radha Damodar Ju ki Jai, Shri Yashoda Damodar ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Srila Param Gurudev ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Sachidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Sapashachi Gaur Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gan ki Jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Shri Dāmodarāṣṭakam ki Jai, Shri Satyavrata Muni ki Jai, Shri Sanatan Goswami Par ki Jai, Dig-darśinī टीका की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, दिग्दर्शिनी-वृत्ति की जय, श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशव कृष्ण भक्ति प्रददेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Dandavad pranams, everybody. So see you all the day after tomorrow. Haribol.